This is The Wheel Weaves, a Wheel of Time podcast with no spoilers. Welcome, listeners. I'm your host, Dani, and I'm the first-time reader who's going through this 15-book series chapter by chapter. As always, there are no spoilers past the chapter we are covering, and that means it's totally safe for first-time readers. I'm joined by my co-host, Brett, who's a longtime fan of the series, and he is acting as my tour guide on this journey. We want to acknowledge our executive producers, Brandy and Aaron Kirkwood. And in this episode, we are covering chapters 33 and 34 of The Dragon Reborn, and we have a guest because we are going guest crazy lately.
Yeah, we had to make up for season 2. So welcome back, Tyler.
Hey, happy to be back. I thought I'd be back more, but here we are.
Well, you know.
A little bit of technical difficulties, but you're here, and we're happy to have you. And as soon as Brett told me that you were going to be on for certain chapters, I thought, oh, good, parent chapters. Because why else would you show up if it weren't for parent?
That's a lot more enthusiastically than you actually were.
I was going to say, yeah.
Oh.
It was actually, oh, no.
Not parent, but we asked you before we just started here, and you said that you were actually excited about these chapters. You liked them.
They were more exciting. Well, the second chapter is more exciting than the first, I have to say.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But they're more exciting than I anticipated them being.
Knowing that it's Perrin?
Knowing that it's Perrin, and knowing how miserable he's been lately.
Yeah, you definitely see the good and the bad with Perrin in this chapter. You get the overthinking, but also the action. So it's one of my favorites.
That's true. We did get some action. I was happy about that. I have to say, I'm okay with getting some Perrin chapters once in a while. Would I have preferred Moraine or Rand or something, because I wanted to see where everyone else was and what's going on. I've been complaining about that and missing that, so to get into somebody else and see what they're doing, I was interested in. I just don't want it to last too long, if that makes sense.
I mean, the start of this book was a dozen chapters or something. It dragged on for a month and a half.
It was so bad.
Wasn't a good start.
Unbelievable. But if it were a Matt chapter, you wouldn't shut up about it.
Well, hey, I like my Egwene chapters, but they're just going on too long. I need to know what other people are doing.
Yeah, you know Harry Potter's written from just Harry Potter's perspective, right?
Yeah, that's the major flaw.
That's the one bad thing about...
The thing about Harry Potter is nobody cares what anyone else is doing in the series.
That's because Harry doesn't care what anyone else is doing.
That's right. You got it.
Okay, we've talked too much about Harry Potter without taking a shot, and that wasn't even supposed to be a thing.
Yeah.
But I got to get in my fun fact because it may or may not include a Harry Potter reference.
Shot glass is ready.
Yeah, Danny's opting out of it tonight, not feeling the best.
Yeah, I'm not feeling good. I'm not sleeping well, but... That's okay. I have my tea, and I'm not taking a gross shot just to please people right now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
She's putting up the stand.
Sorry, everyone.
Okay.
Well, so let's get I brought 2 glasses, so.
Okay.
Cool.
I just got the one, but the word I'm going to try to pronounce, I hope no one judges me for this, but this is the important thing, because we get a little hint at the beginning of this, Perrin adventure about a dog or a hound that has, left footprints in stone, and I got to do a little shout out to the, Sherlock community for the whole... hound bit, but anyways, the word I'm going to say is petrosomatoglif. Okay, now what does that mean?
Does it mean Perrin's never heard of cement?
No,
because
no.
That's my note about this.
He's not saying that a dog just came up and put his face in the cement.
And pulled a Michael Scott.
And initialed it, yeah.
Okay, so petrosomatoglifs are supposed images of parts of people or animals in rock, and they occur independently literally all over the world, and they're actually super important in symbolism in religions and secular senses. So there's tons of artifacts linked to holy figures and cultural heroes, and namely for the most part they're footprints. So footprints being relics of an older or a past time. So they're actually a really, really important thing. And I brought up a couple of cool examples to make this make a little bit more sense.
Okay. And you use the term cool really loosely.
Okay.
But I also sort of have a question about the difference between these and fossils.
Yeah, different. Okay, and that's a good reason because
Okay.
the big thing about petrosomatoglifts is that there's a whole argument about like the natural versus the man-made ones, and also like are they actually real or are they just like fossils? So there's a really, really interesting academic article called Folklore of Fossil Footprints, and it was like 22 pages, and I read it today, and it was really cool. You can go and read it if you want to. But they talk about how there's a bunch of examples about how all these like footprints and indentations and things might just sometimes be fossils that people didn't know were fossils way back when. So I got to give you some examples. It'll make more sense.
Yeah, I gotta say that's likely what this is.
Yeah, so let's
You
go.
don't have to give us examples, but go on.
I'm going to, and I do because this is what leads us to the Harry Potter reference. It's really important about dogs. So first off, the Greeks apparently were really big into this because a lot of those like footprints and like natural indentations in stone were from like extinct animals and dinosaurs. But what they did was they said they were from like their ancient Greek heroes and gods. So there's like a giant
So they
footprint.
were liars.
Well, they didn't know any better. They thought that like a giant 3-foot, footprint in stone was left by like Hercules, for example, and an average person in ancient Greece was about 5 feet tall, but their typical heroes were about 10 to 15 feet tall, which is why a 3-foot long footprint would make sense to be the actual foot of, Hercules.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or Bigfoot.
Or Bigfoot, things like that.
It helps that they only lived like 50 years as well, so legends kind of could spout up pretty quick.
Real fast. Like we're a lot all at the same time. And then there's also things where you've got in the area of like Christianity, you've got footprints from saints and devils. So there's actually in the world everything from like footprints of Buddha to Jesus to Adam. And then these formations are sometimes like fossilized religious markers. And there's also like devil footprints, which are usually more claw-like, but are in real life probably more like dinosaur claw footprints. And the funny part about this is that in the Americas, you've got things about devil footprints, and that's where the New Jersey Devils team gets their name, is inspired from like a lot of footprints from dinosaurs being found. But the one big thing that kind of like brings us all together for the Harry Potter reference, and I'm ready to drop it for you guys, there's a British folklore called the Black Shuck. It's a giant black dog. Shuck is derived from the meaning of devil or fiend, and is typically an omen of death, and it has instances of leaving footprints and markings in stone. So that's where the big black dog, who's an omen of death, is from in Harry Potter, which is Sirius. He's a dog, big black dog, omen of death. Boom, there you go.
Oh, spoiler alert, Brett.
Yeah. Hey, if you haven't read Harry Potter by now,
yeah, we've already said
you got to get to that.
We spoil everything but the Wheel of Time on this podcast.
So there you go. Footprints in stone are a big thing in religions. They're all over the world. And this is an important precursor because I have a better thing to talk about later on in the series.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Take your shot.
There you go.
Okay.
Do I need to describe it?
You
your
absolutely
shot glass?
do.
Oh, yes.
So I've got Disneyland.
Cool, man.
Is there a story behind that, or just like you went there?
Oh, yeah, no. So we went to Disneyland.
That's a really good story, Ty.
Yeah, I like it because it's short.
You know what? You're not invited back for another $2.
Yeah.
Oh, son of a...
And I have the infamous Pisa shot glass that is leaning.
It's fun. That's
It
a
is
good
a
one.
fun one, yeah.
And we went there.
We did. We went there. Okay, let's start with these chapters.
No, take your shot.
Oh, yeah, take the shot. Cheers.
What do you...
Cheers.
Okay, so I'm just going to say them because you didn't. Chapter 33 is called Within the Weave, and Chapter 34 is called A Different Dance.
Yes.
Which I like. I like that one.
That's a
Within
good
the
one.
Weave, I don't love as much, but that's okay.
It's not as strong.
Yeah. Okay, so...
I got a quick question for you to start off, Danny.
Yeah.
At what point did you think you knew what Perrin was going to do in this chapter?
That's a good question. I like that one.
Oh, like by the end of it when he lets the guy go?
Yeah.
I don't think I didn't predict that at all.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
thought he was gonna like
Maybe like talk to him.
interact with the guy.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna like scream at some kids.
Yeah. Attack
But
some kids. with
but
his-
that's
Classic
actually-
Perrin, yeah.
that's actually
Right up
quite-
his alley.
that's quite an interesting question because I actually didn't think there's some predictions I made that came true almost like a second after I predicted them in my brain, but letting him go, I really didn't see him being so bold.
Yeah, I love this. This is so good, especially with the whole like min viewings, and we can talk about that when we get there. But
Okay.
yeah,
All right. So last time though, the gals were going to get themselves like head first into some trap set for them in Tier. And I can't decide if this is a good thing or a bad thing or not. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
it's not
still on the fence about it.
it's not a trap if they know it's a trap. So you can't get trapped by a trap you know is there.
It's a trap. And last book, this happened where all of the people were going to the same place by accident.
Ah, the place to be scenario.
The place to be scenario. So they were all going to Falma by accident, and the girls got brought to Falma at the same time that the guys were going to Falma.
Yeah.
And it sort of worked out for them all to be at the same place. And I just made that note right now.
Yeah.
That I was just like,
that's like the place to be.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Where they're all just going to end up probably at the same place again.
And it kind of sounds like everyone's going to Tier because there's a giant Tier party.
There's a Tier party.
Yeah.
There's a stone of Tier party.
Nice.
Yeah. So Matt is getting out of Tarvalin after meeting up with Tom and having some crazy stuff happen to him. Plus, there's people trying to kill him on a boat.
Yep.
And Perrin is traveling with Moraine, Lan, and Loyal, following the wake of like Taviran-ness that Rand is leaving behind, and he's trying to avoid the dream world at all costs and kind of failing.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's a lot of stuff, but now we're going to get in.
Yeah.
Chapter 33, Within the Weave, and we got our wheelie snake picture, and we are in Perrin's point of view.
Yeah.
Which is fine. So, just kidding.
I'm fine. It's fine. It doesn't matter.
It was good. I actually was appreciative of the change of scenery.
Perrin does something that's like makes him better, right?
Yeah.
This is like a young bull kind of action.
It is. I think that's why I liked it.
It is kind of weird though that they don't use like the Perrin symbol.
Yeah, I gotta say I have a bit of a problem with the chapter symbols here.
You know why? Because there are no wolves in these two chapters.
Interesting take. Okay.
These two chapters had nothing to do with Perrin's wolfiness.
Okay.
This had everything to do with what the pattern is weaving, and there was nothing to do with wolves. Therefore, pattern wheelie symbol, not wolf symbol.
I like it. That's a good take. It's logical. It makes sense.
Works for me.
Okay. So, Perrin is traveling along with his like teeny search party crew. And I like the little note about the dog's footprint in stone.
Yep.
And I said, like he's never heard of cement before.
You don't even know if cement exists yet. You have no idea.
Yeah, but even mud.
Okay.
When you step in wet mud and it hardens.
It's stone. It's not cement.
He says it's a cobblestone. It says it right there.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I found that funny. So they have been riding for a little while now, and we get that Moraine is pushing them like really hard because 6 days ago, Loyal gave up on reading while riding because he just gets left the fuck behind.
I put a huge star because this is the funniest thing.
Oh man.
Because Loyal decides he can't read anymore because and in Parenzy, he's like, the entire group left him behind. But lands off scouting all the time, so the entire group is just Perrin and Moraine, and just Perrin and Moraine totally left Loyal behind on purpose to prove a point.
Yeah.
Because that's the rest of the crew.
That's true.
You guys want to hear a nerdy fantasy pet peeve?
Sure.
So Perrin decides to gallop his horse randomly.
Yeah.
You don't do that when you're traveling for days at a hard pace and complaining about the pace. You don't just be like, that's fucking just gallop away.
Yeah. That
would be one of those things where like the neckbeards would get all up in arms about that one.
Yeah.
So second page into the chapter, it talks about Perrin galloping off.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay. So that's funny, actually, that it's just they left him behind and it's just Moraine and Perrin.
Oh yeah.
But like Perrin's not like Moraine's just going, whether they go with her or not.
Yeah.
And so at this point, though, Perrin has to make a decision
to just leave Loyal
behind. Like leave, but couldn't he be like, "Hey, man, hey, Loyal, we're riding away." Like I don't know.
This is some passive aggressive roommate stuff. This is like a definition. This is like post-it notes above the sink that says like, "Hey."
In the microwave. Yeah.
Soak your dishes.
But also keep in mind, it's only been like about a week for these guys. It hasn't been that long. It's like they're really quick and driving each other like crazy here. So it hasn't been very long.
Okay, I don't think they're driving each other crazy. I don't get that.
I don't know.
I just don't think that Loyal moves quickly in anything that he does.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so we get that Perrin is super tired because he has barely been sleeping, obviously trying to avoid dreaming, and he thinks about how Egwene was in his dream, and he's back to believing that Hopper was dead and doesn't really accept him as alive in his dreams. So that's sad because I was just thinking that Perrin was like taking some steps forward and acknowledging and accepting some things, especially with that whole like scene we got with Egwene where he's like, Hopper, no. And I was like, oh, he's accepting that this is Hopper and he has control over this. And then we get him awake going, bah, I don't want to think about that crap. And it made me mad.
It's really frustrating to be in
a regression.
Too, so. Yeah.
So that's just something that you'll find like a lot with like what RJ does. Like Egwene didn't just get over being captured and tortured and stuff. Like that came up later. And like Perrin doesn't just like, oh, I guess I'm a wolf man now. Like he has these like
but
back and
that's
forth.
what I want.
Embrace your wolf powers. Come on.
Yeah.
We do get confirmation. Yeah, I mean, we do get confirmation that the like Egwene and Perrin actually did see her. And that makes sense about him like holding himself in the whole chains because he's like subconsciously like doesn't want to be the whole wolf guy too. So
that's true.
It's a whole bunch of like
he's worried about these dreams where he like sees people get killed by shadows in really horrific, gruesome ways.
I guess so. I guess like, you could be worried about that.
I would be concerned about that too.
It's kind of tragic though. Like some people dream about flying, and he dreams about being chained up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that he probably went to sleep chained up.
Like in real life?
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Like, you thought that he put chains on his own body in real life?
He's in an inn, and I thought he got chained and chained himself so that he couldn't move around when he got into his dream world if he fell asleep.
You didn't clarify that last time we talked about that. I thought we were talking about like metaphorical dream chains. You think he has a set of chains.
Yeah.
And he gets into that.
Yeah.
Wait. So you think he's going werewolf?
No.
That's what a werewolf would do, though. He's got a point.
No, he's avoiding his dream self.
By physically in the real world chaining himself up.
Uh-huh. That's what I pictured.
Okay.
Like I'm doubting myself now because of the way you guys are looking at me.
Just like you didn't specify that. And in our last recording when we talked a lot about the whole like, that sequence.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll come back to that one. Okay.
We don't have time to break this down right now.
No time for that now. Let's keep talking.
Okay, so moving on from that, because we get a recap of what's been happening on their journey. Basically, they see a bunch more towns and villages that have had crazy stuff happen, mostly due to Rand being anywhere near them.
Yeah. Like, we don't necessarily have to get into specifics, like, a lot of what's happening.
No, we get that, a town completely burned down, like, every building, which is super weird.
Yeah.
And then we find out that Rand is on foot now because his horse was attacked by wolves or dogs. And I wrote, the dogs are getting revenge.
Okay.
For Rand trying to kill him.
And the whole, like, footprint in the stone, but you think it's cement or mud, so
I thought that was old.
Okay.
And it was black and smelled like sulfur, but whatever, we just moved past it.
You've gotten a lot of hints about the whole dog thing, so
I feel like Rand was enticing dogs towards him to try to practice using the power on them, and there was probably a pack of them, and he had to sacrifice his wolf and run away, or his horse and run away. That's what this seems like to me.
Okay. No, I mean, there's a lot of interpretations too, and the big thing we have to kind of like figure out here is like the reality
or he rode his horse too hard and his horse died and collapsed and he just left, and then the wolves like scavenged.
That's true too. It's kind of frustrating because Perrin is like very reluctant to the point of not doing it. He's not reaching out to the wolves to like figure out what's going on and be like, hey guys, did you eat Rand's horse? Because I mean, if he did, they'd be like, no man, that wasn't us. Or they'd be like, yeah man, we were hungry. So I can understand why Moraine's frustrated with Perrin, but she's not like pushing him to do it. So
have they gone over what the wolves call horses yet?
Tall Legs or something like that.
Yeah, it's just like Tall Legs or
Yeah.
Yeah, they
we
would
got
know.
that last time too. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And keep in mind,
That's
the
what I
whole
thought.
Jara and Gnome incident was just like a week ago for Perrin. So like that's still fresh in his mind about the whole like if I turn over to like become a wolf, I'm gonna go crazy like Gnome and become a wolf man and run into the wild.
Yeah.
So like Perrin
That's
is
true.
struggling here.
Yeah, that's fair. But I think that this is funny, and I like to believe that it's the dogs taking like back. It was like Rand at one point like couldn't channel and couldn't kill the dog, so they like killed his wolf. Or,
Yeah.
no, I keep saying
His
that.
horse.
Keep killed his.
His Tall Legs.
Yeah.
They killed his horse.
Okay.
So some village named Willer had like the miracle of a spring start flowing through the town again, and some villages were completely seemingly untouched.
Okay.
But like maybe.
Yeah. Like
but
what
if
after
Rand
effects?
avoided them, because it looks like he's camping in like woods and stuff, he's
Yeah.
you know?
The way it kind of looks is like from what we've seen so far is Rand is going like cross country, like straight line, and then Moraine and Lan and Perrin and Loyer are like falling behind, trying to figure out which way he's going, but trying to stay. And it makes sense why Rand is staying ahead of them because like the person leading the chase is always going to be able to stay ahead.
Yeah. Except now he's on foot.
He is on foot,
and they're on horses and riding hard. So
but they're following, and that's the hard part. Is following's always slower.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when I think it was either the beginning of the story or towards the end of the Great Hunt when they were following the Madrial, and they were like zigzagging the pattern. It was like
yeah.
And I still couldn't catch up. So
no, because they had to follow that zigzag because they had to go in that exact step in order to be able to follow that person.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we see another village where everyone was arguing about everything they'd ever been pissed about, and 3 people got murdered.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. And then another village where the crops sucked, but the mayor dug up some old leather sacks of like Manetheren gold coins.
Yeah.
So no one would go hungry, but then no one knew or recognized the eagle of Manetheren on them.
They're far away from Manetheren. So this is the whole big thing. It's like with Rand's adventure here, we're getting extremes of like, I'm hesitant
good
to say
good stuff and bad stuff.
I don't necessarily want to say like good versus bad because like, fires and burning houses down is not like an evil event, and we get into the whole philosophy behind that too. But it's like there's extremes of what could happen that are happening. And it's pretty clear that RJ is telling us by the Manetheren coins that it's like it's Rand that's doing this.
Yeah.
Yep. We have a karma fun fact coming up, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually thinking about karma just right here where eventually Perrin feels the need to ask Moraine like about the pattern. Like how could the pattern be so evil, letting all these terrible things happen? And Moraine explains that like the Dark One is evil and the Creator's good, and the pattern just is. Like it's just life. Like the good and the bad are all wrapped up in it. And Perrin wants to believe that the pattern is good, and when men do evil things, they're going against the pattern, but I really don't think he gets it.
No, he doesn't get it. For sure, no. Yeah. Well, it's the
So-
whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, when we first moved into this house, there was a saying written above our pantry that was everything happens for a reason.
And sometimes that reason is because you're stupid and make bad decisions.
It was the first thing that I wanted removed from the house because it's like, I don't believe that. Like, you can't believe everything happens for a reason. Like, that's a bizarre philosophy in general.
Like a cause and effect argument. And like, we don't have.
But I have to.
Okay, let's talk about moral philosophy here for a
Yeah.
second, guys.
I think that things do happen for a reason.
Well, I think you can find reason in everything that happens, but I don't think that everything that happens.
I don't want it written in my kitchen on the wall.
Yeah.
But
No, but this is the whole big argument about moral philosophy is that is good and evil subjective or objective? And that's a whole discussion we don't have time to get into on this chapter. Maybe later.
yeah, I
But,
think
like-
this reminded me of like karma and karmic situations, mainly because there's going to be a bunch of crap that happens to you,
Yeah.
and your reaction to those things is going to be what shapes like what happens in the future for you.
Yeah. Like
In
if
my
yeah.
opinion.
I mean, your house burning down in a forest fire, it's like that's not an evil event. It is terrible, but it's
Yeah.
not like the world is being evil to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Perrin has got this.
Perrin's he's got to study a little bit longer, so
Yeah.
I think we've got like a Patreon episode where we're in like leather chairs with scotch, sitting in front of a fireplace, talking about like.
Can I put Splenda in my scotch?
Scotch and Splenda.
Yeah.
Tastes
Scotch,
like Splenda, gets you drunk like scotch.
Oh, good lord!
That's
I think a Scotsman just died.
Michael Scott would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So they reach a town called Remen. Is that how you would pronounce that?
Yeah.
Okay. So it lies just near the Metherendrell.
Real close.
Menetherendrell.
There you go.
Okay, got it. That's the take I'll use.
Yes.
Okay.
I like to do like the sing-songy when it comes to like these ones, like Menetherendrell, like da 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 da.
Sure.
Sure.
Kind of
works.
It's fun for me.
Yeah. Whatever, man. Whatever. Whatever's fun. So Land reports back from scouting that this town has had an eventful couple days, but he's not sure if it's Rand this time.
Yeah, it's different. It's not
a
like the
little bit
extremes.
different.
So
And so they head into the town, and Perrin notes that bad smell again, like from
it's a very specific
Jar?
phrasing.
yeah,
Something smells wrong.
something smells wrong.
That'd be a good moment for RJ to capitalize.
Or italicize or bold or something.
Yeah, something where it's like this wrongness that he
Yeah.
hints at.
Wrongness.
Well,
yeah.
we've gotten
well,
it a couple
it was
times
like
before.
the White Cloaks.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, the White Cloaks smelled wrong.
But he's
in
also picking
Eye
up
of
on
the
the whole
World.
like wolf terminology where he's like, oh, it's not the twisted ones or the Neverborn, and he's like, that's not the words.
Ah,
Yeah, shit. It's like when I say Egwene.
Yeah. That's the
Ah,
right
no,
way to
shit.
say it.
no,
One
that's
of your
the right way to
listeners
say
is
it,
gonna murder me.
Tyler.
Yeah.
I know, I'm nailing it now.
No. Because one time you say one thing wrong and everyone comes after you.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So they get to this town, and in the center, there is a big gibbet that has been raised, and there's a man sitting in a cage hanging from it. And there are bratty children throwing rocks at him.
Yeah.
And so he's described as a tall man, and that's all we get for description. Except for that, we get that Perrin thinks he looks familiar, and my brain went crazy trying to figure out who this is,
Seriously?
and I had to give up.
Oh, you just like skimmed over the description of the guy then.
No, the description of the guy was tall man.
Tall man dressed all in grays and browns.
Yeah, that did nothing for
We've
me.
gotten one person in this entire series who's described as dressed in like grays and browns,
Ah,
and that's Urian, the Aiel man.
yeah. Obviously, I got who it is, but I did. At the time, I was like racking my brain. I couldn't figure it out
Okay.
because I was like, "Who does Perrin know?"
Yeah, it just
Like,
it
who
looks
has
like Rand.
Perrin seen?
Don't you know all Aiel look like Rand? Rand looks like
And
all
our-
Aiel.
Yeah, but it
And
didn't
To
say.
be fair,
they-
they're all tall as well. That's the
They're
thing that always will come up. It's like every time that Perrin or anyone sees them, it's just like, wow, that guy's really fucking tall.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I know that now. But I was like, what else? Give me more description. I can't figure this one out.
That's fantastic.
I couldn't figure
No,
it out.
these are an interesting set of two chapters, and I gotta say, because the first chapter does a fantastic job of leaving you with some cliffhangers for what's going to happen in the next chapter, and it's like information you gain, especially with the whole like Lord Orban that we meet.
Mm.
You get a lot of really good information in the second chapter, so we can discuss it all together. Like if
Okay.
we were doing one chapter at a time, different story.
That's fair. That's true.
Yeah,
And this is something that I talked to Brett about, like right at the beginning, where I was like, RJ, like he divided some chapters, but he clearly meant them to be read together.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he just like he took a story and he's like, I could put a new chapter here, but he didn't like
commercial
divide it
break,
up and make it nice, right? Like yeah.
Okay, so they go into an inn called Wayman's Forge, and Perrin likes that because, you know, he's like, ooh, it's a good omen, a
Yeah.
forge, even though there's nothing smithy about this place.
Yeah.
And the common room is pretty full, and most of the people are all dressed up in their fanciest clothes, and Perrin wonders if there's a festival.
Yeah,
There's not.
there's not.
Okay, so, and I just made this little side note that, oh good, the innkeeper is plump.
I did put that too. That's important to note.
It is. It's
He's
good.
not inherently evil,
Yeah.
being skinny.
But still a bit of a dink, so
He is, but not evil per se, you know?
You can be good and not like a good person to talk to still, apparently.
You can be a jerk but not be evil.
He's not a jerk. He just really likes the sound of his own voice, this guy.
Yeah.
He just likes talking.
What's that like? I have no idea what's wrong with that. Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, let's just move on.
Hey, let's just like put a microphone in front of us and wonder if people want to hear what we have to say.
This guy would have 3 podcasts though.
Oh,
to be
this
fair,
guy would rock podcast.
He
Absolutely.
would, but he wouldn't talk about anything useful.
No. And arguably neither do we.
Okay, let's get to Lord Orban so we can trash on Lord Orban.
Okay, fine. So the innkeeper refers to Lan as Andra, so that's great because we haven't seen that in a little while.
Yeah.
And then Moraine has her hood up because she's concealing her Aes Sedai-ness, because obviously they are now Andra and Alice, because we wouldn't have Andra without Alice.
True.
And she asks about the odd occurrences happening in the town and asks if it's going to be a problem for travelers. And so this innkeeper, he's named Furlan.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, of course not. And he tells them about how there have been hunters for the horn here and how there have been black-veiled Aielmen here in Altera?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I went to the map because then that gave me like an actual sense of how far they've traveled and where they are right now. And that was good because it's one thing to say like the Menetherendro, but I got to see the little like country that they're in right now.
Yeah, no, it is a good kind of like starting point to figure out where they are.
Yeah.
And like where they left from. And that's why I was saying like Rand is probably moving cross country to Tyr.
Yeah.
So he's booking it.
Yeah.
yeah, my map is not the most detailed that was probably available at the time.
Oh,
But,
yeah, no, they're not the best. We got the
Yeah,
same
no.
one here, so.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah.
Oh, yours is worse than mine.
Oh yeah, no, mine doesn't even have color.
Oh, yeah.
It's literally like
Oh,
I think
that's
the
one of
lines
the
are
old
rivers.
ones. That was like my great hunt last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he didn't even name the rivers. So
Great.
Yep.
Handy. So this is where Perrin goes, of course. That's why that guy's familiar. And I went, oh, duh. And that's when my brain went, oh, right. Okay.
oh wow, you're as quick as Perrin. Does that make you feel good?
Oh, Tyler,
Oh,
get out of here.
That's so rude.
You're so mean.
Likes
Ah,
to think it's through.
I like
don't.
Perrin.
That's not a thing I
Yeah.
do. But then he remembers Min's words about an Aielman in a cage. And I have to say, I am so relieved because I had predicted that this was going to be Rand.
Oh, I forgot that you said that.
I
Okay.
thought that her Aielman in a cage reference was going to be to Rand getting caught somehow and being put in a cage, and then everyone figuring out he's Aiel or something. And I'm glad that it's not that.
It's a different person.
It's
Okay.
just a different guy.
You are
I mean-
assuming that this is, in fact, the Aielman in a cage from Min's viewing and not just like some other random occurrence.
That's actually like a pretty good prediction. And like all things considered, now that we look at this chapter, it is a little weird that Rand's been able to cross country, like looking like he does. But like it tells you that there must be some other factors that make him seem Andoran.
Well,
Yeah,
he
even though
definitely
he
doesn't
looks
seem Aiel compared to these guys who are like, I've never seen water before.
Yeah,
Like,
well, it's also clothing too, right? Like clearly, how they dress is a huge factor. When they're like basically in camo gear, like to blend in with the surroundings, and they have a very particular set of characteristics and skills
and the way they speak.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
I thought you were going to talk about Rand and his fancy jacket, not the ailment.
there you go. He's a lord.
Yeah.
Clearly, he's got the jacket. So
yeah. Okay, so we also get a note that I actually forgot about with Min's viewing about how when Perrin sees an Aielman in a cage, it's going to be a turning point in his life, which I forgot about. So that's good. And Perrin asks how an Aielman came to be caged in the town square. So Lord Orban himself has come to grace us with his presence.
He's the best.
And he has some like makeshift cast on his leg and he's on crutches. And Furlan says that they've all gathered to hear this guy's story, but he's coming down the stairs right now to whine about his headache and demand that the medicine lady come and help him.
The mother something.
Yeah.
Now I'm all out of liquor, but Danny, this is giving me mad Malfoy vibes.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, explain
Right?
that.
Well, after he gets mauled in book 3 by the hippogriff.
Oh my
yeah,
god,
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Where it's like, oh, you know, my arm's broken and blah, 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 blah.
Everyone feels sorry for me.
Yeah.
My father will hear about this.
Oh, we
Yeah.
can also pull a whole. This is Joffrey, Game of Thrones. There you go.
Oh, it is Joffrey too.
Yeah. Kill the stable boy or whatever he was.
Butcher's boy.
Butcher's boy.
Yeah. He didn't kill him. Well, the Hound did, but
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not the point. But hey, but this is the thing about this guy. Do we have to take a shot for that?
yeah.
Okay.
Fuck yeah, that's why I said it.
Tyler just wants to drink.
That's fair.
Why do you guys podcast?
All the riches, duh.
I'm
Yeah.
fabulously wealthy. I don't know if
Yeah.
you know.
You're welcome. Can I run and grab more to drink?
No.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Okay, to Malfoy.
To Malfoy.
I'm not drinking to fucking Malfoy.
You have to.
You have to. Malfoy was my favorite character because of how attractive I found Tom Felton when I was 12.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I mean, he's got a
can drink to
TikTok
that.
now. He's got a TikTok now. I'll drink to his
He's
TikTok,
less attractive than he was when he was a teenager now.
but he sings, and he has an
I'll
English
check it out.
accent.
I will create a TikTok account just for that.
You would be one of a million, I think.
Cool. All right. So back to this guy. And Furlan at this point just like goes ahead and tells the story. I thought because it was like, we've all gathered to hear the tale of what this man has been through. And the guy's like, I have a headache.
Yeah.
And
A woman giving birth. Who cares? I have a headache.
Yeah. Fucking
Yeah.
mumbles, just like farm women with their litter.
So yeah, we got to get into this story because this is hilarious knowing what we know
Yeah.
from next chapter too.
well,
we got
and
to
I
talk about this.
also totally predicted this. So it's funny because Orbin and Gan are hunters for the horn, and they have faced 20 wild Aielmen with only 10 retainers. 6 of them died, and they were injured, but they killed a bunch of Aielmen, and some ran away, and they captured one of them. And I just said, this seems so white cloaky.
I'm glad you said that. Yes. Okay.
And by that, I mean wildly exaggerated.
Yes. But this is literally exactly what the White Cloaks did, because now we know from later on next chapter that there were not 20 Aielmen, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
There was just 2.
Yeah.
But that's what the White Cloaks did, because he was like, oh, there's like 50 wolves and 100 men, and they all carry off their dead, so obviously we're not going to find bodies.
Yeah, well, I find it interesting that this Orbin doesn't like white cloaks, considering he's so similar to them.
Yeah.
Lord Orbin, let's call him by his rank. He earned
Lord.
Yeah,
that.
there you go. But
Yeah.
its projection is what it is. There you go.
Well, I think it's just shitty people lie about shit is the takeaway from this.
Dude. I forgot that people are liars.
Right. Okay, so the consensus is that Orbin and Gan save this village from the Aielmen, and then Orbin comes over, and he's the worst, all grumpy, demanding the medicine woman to tend to him, and gets mad when the woman has left to see to a birth, and he mumbles something about,
Fucking farm women with their fucking
Yeah.
litter. Fucking
yeah, farm lady and her litter giving birth or something. Like, he's so much better than everybody else.
Yeah, and basically she didn't do a good job like sewing him up. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's just an asshole is what he is.
So Perrin is very observant of this man. I've been talking about how I've been impressed with how observant Matt is, but Perrin, I mean, this is what I expect from Perrin because he like notes these things.
Yeah, he does.
And if he doesn't, then like because he really doesn't talk and he really seems stuff. So when he does, it's surprising.
Okay.
It's like
okay.
when Matt is observant, it's surprising because nobody expects that from him. But when Perrin is like really bold, that's surprising.
Okay.
Tyler, you're like glaring at me.
You just
I
gotta,
know,
you gotta nod along, man. That's all you gotta do.
You turned it around. You saw me glaring, and you turned it around. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, the thing I like about Matt, I fucking hate about Perrin. It's like, wow,
Well-
when Matt does it, it's really sexy and cute. But when Perrin does it, it's like, ew, gross. Yeah.
So, yes, Perrin is observant of this man. Orbin is paying no attention to Perrin. He sees Loyal, and Perrin notes that it's clear he's seen an Ogier before, but he didn't expect to see one here. He sees Lan, and Perrin notes that he knows a fighting man when he sees one.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a little bit too interested in what Moraine is looking like behind that hood.
Okay. All right.
I think he knows it's an Aes Sedai.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, while Lord Orban might be like a jerk, he also isn't a stupid jerk.
Well, no, he's traveling the world.
Yeah. Okay. But there's like, it's
or
important to kind of figure this out.
Somewhere that he's like seen Ogier and Aes Sedai before.
Yeah.
See, I just thought he was like a douchey guy looking for like trying to see a pretty woman's face.
Oh,
You're giving him more credit than I gave him personally, but
Oh, okay.
Because I thought he like picked up that Lan is a warder, and he was like looking to see if he could catch a glimpse of her face. I don't know.
Yeah. It might be important later because we know there's white cloaks around. So
yeah. So Lan asks this guy, although the white cloaks aren't going to be a problem for very long.
Okay,
so...
hold on. Well, we know that white cloaks typically are traveling like a contingent, so that might not be all the white cloaks.
No, I'm sure it wasn't actually.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So Lan asked this guy, so 12 of you fought 20 Aiel? And the guy's like, yup.
Okay.
You must expect such things if you're going to hunt for the Horn of Valir.
Okay, did Lan buy his story?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Totally. It's very...
the shade that Lan throws here is just incredible on a reread. Like, holy crap. It's just like looking at what he says and what he says to these people, it's like the delivery is perfect.
He's
even
so
now,
unimpressed with this guy. It's awesome.
Considering Lan probably fought in the Aiel War, because we know Lan's probably closer to 50 and the Aiel War was like 20 years ago, and he's a friggin' warder to an Aes Sedai, and the Aiel were like trying to bash down the walls.
Well, I think we get that in book 1 that he fought in the Aiel War, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the point. It's like, seriously, man, you're gonna tell me that you guys fought 20? Yeah.
And then he goes, you lost 6 and only took 1 prisoner?
It's like,
and he's like, yeah, man, killed most of them and some ran off. Suppose they're hiding, they're dead now. The white cloaks are out looking for them, but they'll never find them.
Yeah. I wonder why they won't find any bodies except maybe one body.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't exactly do a great job, but I mean, they're in a small town where they can tell a great story and people are going to buy it.
Yeah. And so Perrin immediately says, there are white cloaks here? And the guy's like, yeah, they're stupid and always getting involved in things that don't concern them. And then he shouts about wanting the medicine woman and turns and leaves. Like, he's done talking to these people. And, yeah. So then Moraine asks the innkeeper to be shown to their rooms. And when they go to leave, Perrin feels as though someone is looking at him. And he turns around and sees this woman with dark hair who has clearly been staring at him.
Yeah.
And Perrin is instantly skeptical. What do you want? Who are you?
Who are you? Who are you? What are you looking at?
Yeah.
So, but, and, okay, valid question, though.
Yeah.
Because, like, we get a little bit more, and we can talk about it later, but this person, woman, girl, whatever you want to call it, good or bad?
I didn't get bad vibes.
Okay. Let's talk about it more once we get to the whole, like, Moraine and Perrin conversation. I want to come back to it.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, I'm with Moraine. So.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's immediately what I thought. I immediately thought, Perrin, girls can stare at you when you're new in a village.
Your dark friend alert wasn't, like, going off? Like, oh my god.
It wasn't, actually.
Considering that Perrin and Matt and Rand are, like, clearly targeted, like, Taviran from the dark friend social and all that stuff, and people know what they look like, and you're just like, cool. Yep. Just a pretty girl looking at a pretty boy.
I gotta tell you, I didn't get it this time.
Really?
Is this your sort of, like, backwards wraparound way of saying you think Perrin's probably pretty hot?
I think some women might find him attractive.
It's okay, sweetheart. You can say it.
I don't. I find Matt attractive.
Okay. I mean, Perrin's got the whole, like, rugged, sexy thing down. He's, like, big arms.
I don't want a beefcake. That's
all right.
Just, like, don't worry.
Well, that's really good news. I'm relieved.
How about just cake? Do you like cake?
I like that part.
Oh, man.
Okay. So that's the end of that chapter, which is great. And then we get into chapter 34, A Different Dance.
Hold on.
What?
Before you get into it, I just want to talk about the fact that Perrin can't decide if she's beautiful or not.
Oh, yeah. Except for later, Oh no, never mind.
Yeah,
No.
not later because, well, just the description is like, oh, a nose that's almost too big and bold,
But isn't quite.
high cheekbones, tilted eyes, can't decide if she's beautiful or not. It's just like the most backhanded compliment.
I don't think that's a compliment.
It's the most like insulting insult. I don't know.
Well, so what I got out of this is more like insecurity,
Yeah.
where it's
Okay.
like it's like part of it. It feels like I don't know. It feels like a teenage boy to me, where it's like you don't want to say something about someone before you how they feel about you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I get that. Okay.
Like he doesn't want to say like that that dark friend was really pretty, or like that woman
Right.
who thinks I'm weird because of my golden eyes is really hot.
Especially since he's on like high alert for like people noticing him. That's
Or
a good
he
point.
doesn't want to say this chick that I'm gonna hook up with is really ugly.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, maybe she finds me attractive, and I don't want to say that she's ugly because if she finds me attractive, then I don't find her ugly.
Yeah, and this is exactly. This is the fun thing that I find about like RJ's internal dialogue, where he leaves that open for the character.
Yeah.
Because like that's what I don't know like how much you remember from high school, Brett, but like that's what like guys
Basically
would do all the time, right? Like it's just like fair enough. Where it's like you leave that open for yourself, where you're like, I don't want to fully commit to thinking that like this person's great because it might turn out that they're not great, so I'm not going to say anything about it.
Well, I don't like her, but does she like me?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
Yeah.
gotta know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys know this, but parents kind of insecure. That's
Yeah.
I think
a
all
little
of
bit.
them are.
Okay.
Okay. So, chapter 34, we continue on with our wheelie snake picture because we're continuing on with our pattern crap. And they are being shown to their rooms. We're still in parents' perspective. We're like a second later. And Furlan is going on and on and on about nothing. And then he says something about proclaiming the dragon in Gildan.
Yes, this
And
is like a really
Moraine
important event.
Freezes and Perrin smells fear
From Moraine.
So she asks if there's another false dragon in Gildan, and I need to say that I noted that. Before you tell me why this is bad, I'm going to tell you that I remember why this is bad.
Good. Okay.
Because I need to prove that I know things.
Good. No, I like that. I like that you picked up that it's an important thing.
This is important because this is terrible news. Because of the whole, like, once the real dragon is reborn or has been proclaimed, then the pattern no longer has a use for false dragons.
Yeah, so
right?
basically once the real dragon comes and proclaims himself, the pattern is going to get rid of all the false dragons because you don't need them anymore.
Right. And Moraine has spent the last 20 years of her life devoted to finding Rand and having him be the true dragon. And if after Rand has proclaimed himself the dragon, another false dragon has popped up.
Yep.
Bad news bears.
Well, that means
for Moraine.
that means
she's
Moraine's wrong, and she threw the towel in, and she went all in with the wrong dragon.
Ugh.
Oh man,
I get it, Moraine.
this series could have been 18 books long and given us 3 extra books of getting the right dragon after the wrong dragon.
Yeah. Ow, F. How many babies were born on Dragon now? Shit.
Okay, so turns out it's not that bad, but it's still pretty bad.
It's not good. Yeah, okay.
So there is some guy in Gildan preaching about the Dragon Reborn and how he gets beasts to fight for him, and he's coming from the west, and I immediately, I like when I think something and then literally a sentence later it's confirmed, but I went, oh Jesus, it's Massima.
Yeah, so, but this is the thing, because the big like hinting line is the fact that the guy here, he says the wolves or the beasts will fight for him.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that Massima
had said
specifically, even though it was Perrin that the wolves had come for to fight the Trollocs.
And we had that Massima was going a little bit crazy with all this devotion to the Dragon Reborn.
He was going a little bit bonkers.
And turns out he's still going bonkers.
He's going bonkers. But, Moraine's gonna...
Yep. So...
yeah, deal with that later.
Lan is like, we used to know a man who spoke of wild tales. Remember him, Alice? Massima? And Moraine's like, oh, fuck. That guy? She didn't... She didn't even connect it right away.
No, she didn't. You don't know a fun fact? It's Massima.
Oh,
Yeah.
what have I been saying?
Massima. The pronunciation guy is
I think
Massima.
she was along the lines that like Brett was thinking, where it's like that like the worst case scenario. She hadn't thought of like the second worst case scenario,
No,
which is
but
also terrible.
that's for sure it, though. Moraine is so wrapped in like, oh my god, am I wrong? Did I just like throw away my entire life and like I'm an Aes Sedai and I threw in with the wrong like false dragon here?
Yeah.
Crazy.
And she's like, oh, that guy, I'll wish that he was dead next time I see him.
Yeah.
And then she slams her door very dramatically.
She's not having a good time.
And then Furlan's like, that's a fierce woman. So we get that Perrin gets a really small, crappy room because he is the servant after all.
And just to note, like the innkeeper didn't want to talk to him.
No.
Because he thought he was a servant.
Yeah. And then Lan was like, answer him.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. But Perrin wants to sit and think things through. Surprising. And after a while, Loyal comes into his room, super excited about his bed being sung wood, which is also not surprising. And I just think, cool, man.
This is how
cool bed.
Okay, real talk here though. Loyal feels the way I feel when I talk about my fun facts and you don't care about them.
Aww.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
See, for me, like I can't wait for the show to show like Marcus Rutherford, the guy who's going to be playing Perrin, just thinking for 10 minutes on screen, just like
it's gonna be so good.
I'm all for it.
I hope they do like a voiceover.
Yeah.
Inner monologue. With what he's thinking, and just like going in circles with everything he's thinking.
I feel like Loyal's like my spirit animal,
Loyal.
And that like just his character, because like he gets excited about things that I get excited about, and no one else cares.
That's fair. That's true.
Yeah.
That's okay. It is actually pretty cool because this bed is like over 300 years old.
Yeah.
And they like brought it out specifically for Loyal, and he hasn't had a bed that actually fits him, number one.
You know what the saddest part about this is? Loyal finally comes to a town where they have a sung wood bed.
And people know
specifically for him.
Years.
They know he gets to sleep in the first bed that's a Loyal sized bed. And what do they have to do after this chapter ends?
Not go to sleep.
He doesn't get to sleep in the bed that's fit for Loyal.
Oh, that is so sad, actually.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
It's kind of funny too, like if you think about the way that you talk about the way RJ writes and how frustrating it is and things like that. And then you remember that Loyal's like writing a personal diary of everything that happens right now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Imagine the details that are in that one. I think Brett's fun facts probably featured pretty prevalently in Loyal's novel.
Hey.
Well, let's just like keep on moving then, because no one cares about his bed.
That's true. No one cares about his bed. So Perrin just has other things to worry about right now. If everything was going so swimmingly wonderful and this was just like a vacation, Perrin would be very receptive about the bed, I think. But Loyal is actually really there to tell Perrin that dinner is being served, and Perrin says that he's not hungry. And so Loyal leaves, and Perrin is thinking about the lady who is staring at him and about the Aiel in the cage.
Yeah.
And so after a while, more thinking, he heads to Moraine's room and knocks once and just goes in.
So I got okay.
Bold,
Pause.
Bold.
Tio. I told you before we started recording that I had a really important question I need to ask you about these chapters.
Yeah, okay.
The question is, and Tyler, I am gonna need like answers and some proof to back it up. Did Perrin see boobs?
The show's not on HBO, so no.
We're not talking about HBO here.
Prime shows boobs, I bet.
Oh yeah, Prime's all about that.
Have you watched Mrs. Maisel?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you only get boobs episode 1, and then you don't get any more boobs.
That's true. So back to the important question.
This will be the first time we get boobs, though.
That's true. We might not get them again. But did Perrin see boobs or no? Are you saying yeah?
I actually don't think he did.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I think Perrin would have said he saw a boob.
I'm of the opinion that Perrin did in fact see boobs.
You are?
I am. I will give you proof later on this chapter.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I think that he saw shoulder, and that was like the same.
Oh, I think that Perrin's Emmons Field decency doesn't actually make him think about the word boobs and wouldn't actually say that repeating it back to
Boobs.
himself. In fact,
think-
he might just like fill that word in with a ...
I'm just saying I just think of like that Simpsons scene where like the woman is getting the photo on the roller coaster where she shows like a little bit of ankle.
Yeah.
And like all the
Oh,
guys are like, oh my, right? Like
Yeah.
at this point, that's Perrin. Like I don't think he's seen anything. I don't think he has any idea what's going on.
Yeah, in
At
his
all.
mind, so he blushes because he finds Moraine basically naked. I mean, she has her blue robe around her shoulders and is brushing her hair.
She's not wearing a full-length dress and an undercoat and like everything
Yeah.
else.
We'll get to it.
And a cloak.
I'll clarify my
yeah,
stance.
okay.
It's
So
important.
Perrin stammers, thinking about that Lan would be here, and she's like, "What do you want?" Hey, I have a question.
Sure.
An Aes Sedai's face is ageless. Are there boobs?
Yeah, it's not one of those weird Game of Thrones situations.
Are their boobs ageless?
They are.
Yeah.
It's just like a face. It's not like a bad makeup job where you can like see where the makeup stops.
You
at the
only
neck
ever
here.
talk about their ageless face.
But we don't
Yep.
talk about their wrinkled hands.
Yeah.
Your hands are terrible.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
oh
the
my
boobs
God.
are- so the
Like-
boobs are good too.
Boobs are good too.
Okay.
If he in fact saw them, which he did.
Oh, and shoulders, nice shoulders.
Yep.
Okay.
Great
So-
skin all around. Apparently,
Great
these are
skin.
they're all
So-
taking Accutane. It's perfect.
Excellent. Okay, well, I needed to clarify that. Okay, where was I? So Perrin asks if this was Rand's doing, and Moraine says she doesn't think so, and that Lan is out scouting now. We'll see what he finds to help me make my choice. And because Rand could have crossed the river here and then continued cross country, or he could have boarded a ship going down river to Ilion and board another to Tyr, because that journey would be technically longer, but days faster.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like go down and east on a
On a
boat,
boat.
versus like cross country on foot.
Yeah.
What's Rand doing?
So for me, this is
Uh,
like an interesting point because
yeah.
it's Moraine's not trying to get to Tyr. She
She's
knows
trying to get
where
to
he's
Rand.
going. She wants to help. Like she wants to be there for Rand. She doesn't want to be where Rand is going and wait for him. Like that's not what she's looking to do. She
Yeah.
wants to she knows the quickest way to Tyr, right?
She does, yeah.
But she's trying to decide what's best for us getting to Rand right now.
Yeah. Well, it's a fair point because even if Rand's going cross country and she goes by boat, she'll get the Tyr faster. But like if something happens in the meantime to Rand on the journey,
And he doesn't get to Tyr.
and she's like SOL, right? Like
Yeah.
So this is honestly like this is a good example of the pattern in a lot of ways where it's like
Yeah.
she doesn't firmly believe that Rand will get to Tyr no matter what. She isn't sure if she needs to be a piece of the pattern and be a helper in getting Rand to Tyr. She knows where he's going, but it
Or
doesn't
trying
matter.
to get to. She
Yeah,
knows where he's
trying
trying
to
to
get.
go.
so,
Yes, but she doesn't know that he's going to get there. She knows she might need to help.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So Perrin says that he doesn't think they will catch up to Rand at this point, and Moraine says that she wouldn't be surprised to learn that he figured out how to travel.
And we've heard that term before.
And then she sort of shakes that off and doesn't say anything else about it again. And she says that they may just have to take the river and hope to meet him in Tyr. And so Perrin asks about the girl staring at him and if Moraine can sense dark friends. And Moraine just like laughs at him and says that he's just an attractive guy and village girls will stare and some girls admire a pair of shoulders.
He's basically a super jacked, like young dude. Like,
Yeah.
He looks good.
Yeah.
So
Well,
do we want to talk about this whole traveling thing or no? We're gonna skim over that.
Moraine skims over it.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I think we can skim past it, Brett.
Well, I'm just saying we heard that phrase once before
yeah,
in the prologue because that's what LTT did.
yeah,
He traveled.
that's true. Yeah.
So
But that was back when traveling was like a thing that people could do.
it's true.
I don't think that Rand has learned to travel, if that's what you want to talk about.
Yeah. Well, also that, but also like Moraine knows what traveling is, hypothetically at least.
Well, yeah.
I mean, him learning to travel doesn't help with the whole, like, if he could just get there, like Moraine brings up, right? Then he would be doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be killing dogs left, right, and center.
He wouldn't
Hey,
have
that's just a
like,
fun, pastime. That's
he
like
wouldn't
that's
have
like
just,
a hobby, basically.
abandoned
Yeah.
his like dead horse and like been like staying in Rand and like seeing random villages.
Okay.
Now back to the question about what Rand is actually doing. I think he's going cross country because I think he wants to avoid people.
Fair.
He's people avoiding, and I think any villages that have had something happen to them, he's encountered that village by accident, I think.
He only did, like, we only know he stopped in Jara
Yeah.
with the weddings.
Yeah.
And that was
So,
like the
like,
only time.
Most things these boys have intended, he's doing a really shit job of doing what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think that he's trying to avoid people, and getting on a boat and then getting on another boat would be very, very difficult to avoid people.
Fair.
And I think that that's like his main objective. And his second objective is getting to Tyr fast. But I really think he doesn't want to be like trapped on a boat with people. That sounds bad for him.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Perrin leaves Moraine's room and thinks, "Oh, Light, I've seen her shoulders." And I think,
No.
and he thinks that Matt would have asked her to the common room for a dance after seeing her shoulders.
Okay. You want that proof?
Yeah, I want to know. Read
Okay.
it. Proof about the boobs?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay.
So, well, he starts by saying Light just walking in on her like that and her ... boobs,
Bare
not
shoulders.
implying.
And her bare shoulders.
So here's
there's
the big
three
He can't
dots.
even say. He can't even
There's
think.
3 dots,
bare
not
boobs.
2. Therefore, does a brain have 3 boobs? Is that what Brett is?
There's 4 dots, number 1.
4. Oh my gosh.
4 dots in both sequences, and then he says, "Stop thinking about her like a village girl just because you saw ...
Her bare shoulders.
Not bare shoulders. He did not see nipple. He saw boobs.
How do you not see nipple if you see boobs?
That's the great debate. That's like the debate of like lifetime, basically.
If he saw her
Understand.
boobs, he saw her
great
boobs.
He
debate,
saw
Brett.
all that except for the,
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah,
if
that's
he
what
saw
happened.
her boobs, he saw her boobs. Take a stance here, not just some wishy-washy side boob stuff.
That is my stance. He saw a boob except for at the cut line of the nipple.
Oh, so he saw cleavage.
More than
Cleave.
that. There's like a cleavage line, and then there's like you see like boob, side boob, under boob. You see everything. It's
See,
just
I
like,
think
Out the
I
nipple?
think-
I don't know, Brett.
I got a
This
shirt.
story's falling apart.
I got
Yeah.
a shirt.
as in, like
Cut out?
basically like a parent embodied. If he had saw nipple, he would have left that room.
Oh man, there's no way.
He would have
There's
left that
no
room
way.
so quick.
He saw her bare shoulders, and
He saw way more than bare shoulders. Are you kidding me?
He might have saw cleavage.
Are you kidding
but
me?
listen-
More than just like cleavage of like a dress.
Nope.
Because a dress can show cleavage. He saw more than that.
Nope.
So
Absolutely.
this is what we're gonna see in the show. It's gonna be the robe down around the elbows. She's gonna be facing away, and then she's gonna pull it up over her shoulders, and then turn
maybe
around and
he
see
saw-
Perrin.
Maybe he saw her naked back.
I don't believe
Yep.
you.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
That's
Disagree.
that's
Hard
the
no.
money shot in a TV show that does not want to show boobs on a very expensive actress.
I'm
in
gonna
Rosamund
pump the brakes so hard in that you're gonna go through the windshield. That's not how it's gonna work.
We
I
will
We'll
see.
take that bet, and I'm gonna say this scene doesn't even make the show.
That's a better stance, actually.
This one teeny little nothing scene is not gonna make it in the show.
Probably
You-
not.
You think
in,
the
like,
scene is
season three.
nothing? It's got 2 incredible
Many
actors and characters in it,
Boobs.
and it's a chance to show shoulder or
Okay,
whatever.
all right. I think that we need to move on from this because there's way more important things to talk about.
Debatable.
Well,
Okay,
that's what the debate is, Brett.
let's continue. Okay.
Okay. So it's interesting. I wanted to make a note, not about the whole boob thing, but when Perrin thinks to himself, she's a pretty woman or a good looking woman or something like that,
Yeah.
I actually thought he was talking about the other woman.
No,
who
he's
was
thinking
staring
about
at-
Moraine.
No, I got that after
Okay,
I read
okay.
it again. But I thought he didn't know if she was pretty, and I thought he'd like changed his stance
Oh yeah.
on now she's pretty because he thinks that she might be interested in him, but it's not that at all.
No,
So
he's going full Oedipus here and being like, "Oh man, she's hot like my mom."
gross. Okay, so Perrin now has decided that he's gonna go out and see the dude in the cage. But as he leaves, he sees Orbin down in the common room drinking wine and telling his whole exaggerated story to the entire common room. Like
you
he's
catch-
some
did
kind of glee man.
Did you catch what his horse's name is?
Lion.
Lion.
Because he's an asshole.
He's giant.
Okay. So Perrin heads out into the night and finds the gibbet, as he last saw it. And he looks at the cage. And he just basically makes his decision to free the man. He looks around. There's no one around. So he goes and unties the rope. He lets the cage down to the ground slowly, because it's obviously big and heavy and there's a dude in it. And he uses his axe to pry the chains off the cage.
So just to clarify again, like from my earlier question, do you think he just walked up and did this, or do you think he knew he was going to do this before he left the inn?
No, I don't think he knew, because it said he doesn't know at what point he decided, I think is in the writing.
It's one of those like
specifically.
Well, he saw the kids throwing the rocks and he was like, this is wrong.
And even
right?
Loyal had said they shouldn't be doing that. The grown-ups should stop them.
Unfortunately, like the grown-ups are the one who put the Aielman in the cage, so why would they stop the kids from throwing the rocks? Because they're all a bunch of assholes.
Right.
But the point is like he knew it was wrong and it went against what his like belief system is.
And he kept thinking about how I should have stopped those kids.
So now he's
and now it's almost like because he didn't, he wants to make up for it.
It's
but that's not what he says, right?
No.
What does he say when he lets the guy go?
But myself too, like I have those thoughts where it's like you know what you're gonna do even if you don't admit it to your own like consciousness.
Yeah, he didn't go out to see the guy to just like chat with him in the cage.
He knew he was gonna do it. He just hasn't admitted it to himself yet.
That's what I think too.
Yeah.
But if you look at the reason why he let that guy out of the cage, he specifically says, I don't like seeing people in cages.
Yeah.
He made his mind up like way before because he already had the gnome thing and he let gnome free.
Yeah.
Like, that was a big thing.
So for me, this is like the Han shot first type situation where it's like Perrin knew he was going to let this guy out of the cage as soon as he saw him in a cage. Me, that's a character thing that Perrin has to have.
I think it was an unconscious thing. I think
he knew, but he didn't tell himself that he knew yet.
No, I think that he didn't like it. And I think that that's what he's been thinking about because he also knows the repercussions of what's going to happen if he does, in fact, and so that's why he had to sit there and think for so long, weighing out the pros and cons about doing this. And he's like, well, okay, I don't know what I should do because there's reasons to do it, but I also morally feel like I should do it, but there's reasons I shouldn't do it. Let me just go see him. So Perrin opens the cage for this guy, and he just sits there staring at Perrin. And Perrin tells the guy, like, I opened it, but I'm not going to carry you. And the Aiel says that Perrin is very strong. It took 3 guys to hoist him up there. But I know that Perrin is strong, but hoisting is different than letting down. Because he's got gravity assisting him. And I mean, like, yeah, you have to hold it against gravity so it doesn't crash down. But hoisting a guy up is going to be more work, I think, than letting someone down.
Yeah, and he does this whole like leg lock thing to like give him a little bit more leverage or whatever. Yeah. But just like keep in mind, Perrin's a big dude. Like he's strong.
He is strong. I'm not saying he's not, but I'm just those two things aren't comparable.
Not equivalent, but they're close.
And so then he wants to know why Perrin is freeing him, and Perrin says he doesn't like seeing people in cages. So the Aiel has to stretch a bit since he's been in there since yesterday, and he says his name is Gull.
Yep. Of
the Imran Sept of the Sharad Aiel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stone Dog.
Yep. I don't want to say it.
That's why I said Stone Dog.
Shaen Metal.
I think you nailed it.
Yeah, me too. So he tells Perrin, my water is yours, which is like nice.
Yeah, we get a little bit about Aiel culture at the end here too.
Yeah. And so Perrin says, well, yeah, I'm Perrin, of the 2 rivers, whatever. And then he goes, why do you keep calling me Wetlander?
This is great because, again, Aiel culture, this is one of the things. Like, RJ builds cultures. He does a phenomenal job of creating an entire people, a backstory, a history, and a reason why they are the way they are.
Yeah.
And we're just going to get like a little bit of a hint of it right now.
I've got a quick aside. I don't know if you want it, Danny, or not, but it's about Dune.
Okay.
The people of Dune don't seem to they know that more water is out there, but the Ale don't seem to know that more water exists. So like this is where RJ kind of like shifts the pattern kind of thing of what like people's expectations are.
Or because they knew subwater existed and they are like thoroughly and like so shocked and surprised at the amount of water.
It's kind of like when people say the ocean's salty.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like, I tell you the ocean's salty, it's really salty, and you're like, yeah, the ocean's salty, and then you go to the ocean, and you're like, holy effing what? This is the saltiest thing I've ever had in my entire life. Like, crazy.
So the guy's like, well, I'm calling you Wetlander because your lands are wet. There's so much water here. He was surprised by swimming.
Yeah.
Like, he was like,
He's
I
never
saw
seen
some
it.
girl go into the water and then she came out of it.
She like pulled herself into the water.
She pulled herself in the water and did an
Yeah.
awkward swimming motion.
Doesn't even have a swimming word for it. He calls it sporting. Like,
Yeah. And he goes, I never thought there was so much water in the world. And then Gull says that he is here because they search for he who comes with the dawn, of course.
This is wildly important because we got this reference with Urian.
Yeah.
And we got a very different reaction from this gang. Kind of this gang. It was like Varen and crew.
Sure, yeah.
But the answer that Varen gave Urian about he who comes with the dawn was very different.
Oh, yeah. Well, because she's Aes cryptic and doesn't want to share anything she knows about anything to anyone ever.
Yeah, but that's the entire point. It's like Varen said to Urian, I don't know what you're talking about, man. I got nothing.
Yeah. And then Perrin's like, I'm looking for him too. He's going to Tyr.
Yeah, I know that guy. I grew up with that guy. He's going this way. We all gotta go.
Yeah.
That guy, he's over there. Yeah.
So I don't know if this is good or bad. I don't know if it's going to be good or bad if the Aiel actually find Rand and like what they're going to do. Like, I don't know.
Well,
but
throwback as well here, Danny, to like, hi, I'm Perrin from the Two Rivers. It's in Emmons Field. It's right that way. If you walk that way for a while, you'll get there. That's me.
Here's my family tree if you'd like to know who I'm related to.
Yeah, literally everyone else is using a disguised name.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, so Gull is like, that makes sense. Our prophecy says when the Stone of Tyr falls, then we will leave the threefold land at last.
Yeah.
So let's all go to Tyr and we'll all leave the waste.
Sounds great.
And it's
Sounds
like, hey
little,
guys, you probably can just leave.
Well, no. Apparently not.
Here's the thing about moving.
You can just do it.
You can just do it.
I mean, they already did it too, right? Like, he's already out. So
yeah, but like officially, like, you know, as in I'm not coming back.
And it's like their entire culture and their way of life. Like, how are they gonna do what they do there? You know, out in like Camelin or something. Like, just a group of Aiel just like living in Camelin. Like, this world is not very well adapted to like immigrants and like different cultures and the way that people do things differently than them. Like, they do not get it.
Well, especially the Aiel, because they're like black veiled savages is how they're described. So
yeah,
they could probably figure out like a plain, but not so much like a wet area with rivers. That would be that sounds
they
like
don't drown.
You'd lose all the ale immediately.
You need like an Arizona climate type, like it's warm most.
They go to get a drink and like just fall in, and then that's it.
Yeah, so it's a weird prophecy, but he's like, yeah, okay, man, I'll go to Tyr. Thanks for the tip. And then Perrin's like, okay, you better go now because all this talking is bad. But now people have seen them and they hear someone yell, the savage is loose.
Not just people, it's the White Cloaks.
It's the White Cloaks. And so Gull asks Perrin if he likes to dance and calmly lifts his own veil over his face.
Okay, so Tyler, do you want to talk about how friggin' cool this is, or do you want me to talk about how friggin' cool this is?
I was just going to talk about how, like, I was going to ask if Danny knows for sure, like, if she thinks that Rand is he who comes with the dawn, or do you think that Perrin's being kind of a dick here?
Oh, for sure that's who Rand is.
Yeah, she never waved, like, from the first time.
Of course that's who this is. Rand is everyone, okay? He's also the sea folk guy.
Rand's the guy. He's the guy.
He's the guy.
The
Cormor. Yeah.
The one they're waiting for.
He's the chosen one. He's the guy.
He's the guy, okay?
Okay, well then, Brett, you can talk about how bitchin' this is.
Okay, it's really bitchin' because Gull's so cool here.
He annihilates them.
It's the whole, do you want to dance? Like, it's the same thing that Urian said to Varen. He's like, oh, you know, I wouldn't dance with you.
Yeah.
And everybody got confused about that.
Well, it's what they say.
It's how they work.
Yeah.
And Perrin figures it out here why they dance.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Like,
you know what I actually
I
picture?
have a hard time like
I don't know.
putting
You
this
know,
in words.
like the Israeli martial arts, like Krav Maga.
Yeah.
Like I picture something along those lines.
I'm really interested to see how the TV show incorporates this, because the Aiel with their whole like I'm not using weapons thing here,
Yeah.
very cool.
I would
it is.
actually expect a little bit, like Danny, like you mentioned, actually Krav Maga, because the whole thing about it is economy of movement
Yeah.
and going against numbers that are greater than your own. Like Krav Maga factors in a lot of that stuff. So it's like clearly like his thing here is he's going to disable and try and take out as many people as quickly as possible. And he's really good at it.
Like
He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
Kicks their asses and straight up murders them, like
Yeah.
with his hands. Like most of them are just like dead. And Perrin helps, like with his axe, like swinging it and killing White Cloaks. And like he hates it very much, but he does it anyway.
Well, he doesn't want to die.
Yeah.
And he says that.
And he also
that's an
doesn't want to
important
get
point.
captured by White Cloaks because he knows White Cloaks are looking for him.
Again. Yeah.
I also think
by White Cloaks.
Yeah.
he also doesn't really like White Cloaks. That's like he doesn't think about it a ton. Like he likes like I don't like killing people, but he doesn't really talk about like the real guilt that you'd expect if like Perrin killed an innocent person. It's more just like, you know, I got blood on my cloak. Stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, do you want to talk about it? Like,
more
do
like
White
I got
Cloaks-
blood on my axe.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Mop it up.
he's not
Probably
terribly
all the
cut up
White
about
Cloaks
this.
everything
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, yeah. So Perrin is very impressed by this Aiel's fighting, and he says he doesn't get how 12 men fought 20 of them and won. And Gull is like, yeah, that's because there was 2 of us, and we got caught off guard, and that guy died,
Yeah, Sarian. So.
and I got captured because we were stupid. Like,
It's kind of a sad story, because if you kind of like backtrack this whole thing, Saren and Gaul were like going through, journeying, looking for the whole like promised one here.
yeah.
And then they stumble into this bunch of like hunters for the horn. And probably when they like stumbled upon them, the hunters like jumped them and they jumped each other.
Yeah.
And then Sarian and Gaul killed 6 of the 12.
Yeah.
And then Sarian got killed and then Gaul got captured. And it's like, it's a crazy story.
Yeah.
And the hunters are just like
Assholes.
assholes, and they're not
Well,
very
they're lying
good.
about it, and yeah, they're not good. I actually do have a point about how I'm sure Gaul is like a very good fighter to take down these however many
There was 12 of them.
12 White Cloaks, but we also know, I have to make a note, that White Cloaks suck at everything.
That's true.
Like, they are not good soldiers, they are not good fighters. We get that they're just like big-headed like talkers.
One counterpoint to that, even if you're not very good, 12 of you
Yeah.
is a lot of people.
Yeah.
And you can overwhelm. You generally should be able to overwhelm one person.
Well, that's why 12 of them ended up getting Gaul captured, and
Yeah.
the other guy.
just
right.
like piled on him or
But
something.
I would say
don't
that
know,
these
like-
hunters for the horn were probably better fighters than these White Cloaks.
Yeah, that's
White
true
Cloaks
too.
generally, when we've met them, are bad
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
being soldiers.
They're not competent. So,
So when a lot of people talk about this stuff, they talk about like tactically, and I think like the White Cloaks are just like they're meant to like stand in a line, hold a shield, and like march forward. Like I don't think they know. I don't think they know
Literally
anything what they're
into a
doing.
hole in the ground.
Just like
So,
the
like-
end of the Great Hunt, like literally what happened in that scene. I think that's what they're trained to do. I don't think they know anything about fighting one guy or
No,
2 guys.
what they're actually trained to do is walk around like arrogant assholes
and like
and-
harass poor
and
people.
expect people to like just part for them or just like lay down and be like, "Oh, White Cloaks, don't hurt me."
Yeah.
Like that's what.
They
They
either
expect-
beat up civilians or they march in a line. I don't think they have any in between.
Absolutely not.
It kind of reminds me of like when Lan was sneaking into the camp of the White Cloaks, and they're just like doing these terrible marching patterns and not even like paying attention to anything
Yeah.
outside their radius.
Yeah.
And they're just, or Nynaeve was like
Yeah.
sneaking up and to cut the horse and like free Bella or something.
Yeah.
And they're just like not even paying attention.
No,
like,
they have no idea.
they're not
Looks-
they're not the best.
Look
bad.
straight ahead. They march on their exact schedule, and that's what they do. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's the
Because the light
definition
will
of like,
protect them.
yeah, it's the bare minimum basically of a soldier.
Okay. So Gaul lowers his veil and says he's got to go now, but he will remember Tyr and tells Perrin, "May you always find water and shade," and runs into the night.
And that's a very big cultural thing because
Yeah.
we know that the Aiel are like desert people, so the whole may you always find water and shade. Pretty important when you're in like a barren wasteland.
Yes, absolutely. So Perrin wipes his blade off on a dead guy because, yuck, it was covered in blood. And then he goes to run, but he sees the woman from before standing on the street corner, and she turns and runs away.
Did you catch that he had the feeling of being watched earlier in the chapter a couple of times?
No.
There's a few instances where he's like, I had the feeling of being watched.
Ah, interesting.
So, yeah.
Well, he said that because he had the feeling of being watched the first time he noticed.
Yep.
That I did pick up on, but I didn't pick up on it again.
It happened again before he went to meet Gaul. Yeah.
So she's like following him.
That's what it seems like.
But her skirts are divided for riding. We get that lots.
We do.
But
yeah.
I don't know. I actually don't have it. Like, I really didn't get evil, dark friend, bad, Lanfear-y vibes. If that's what you're asking
Not
me.
everyone is Lanfear.
That's what I'm saying.
There's other dark friends. There's other bad guys than just Lanfear. Not
It
everyone's
doesn't
Lanfear.
really seem like that.
How much do you think she saw?
All of it.
All of it. You think she followed him out of the inn?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. But so here's the thing about how not everyone's Lanfear. Remember how I thought the old lady in Egwene's dream is Lanfear?
Yeah.
So somebody left a little tidbit for me, a reminder.
Yeah.
About an old lady in an inn who left a note from Celine.
Oh, you remember that now?
In Kyrian.
Okay.
It was actually a YouTube comment. Someone reminded me of that.
That's fantastic.
Because I forgot that happened, and I was so happy to get that tidbit. Which is funny
because at that point, you also, I'm pretty sure in that chapter, you were like, that's probably Lanfear disguising herself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you forgot that you had said that.
I did.
And then circled back, forgot it, and then got reminded. So
everyone is Lanfear.
And everyone's Lanfear. Okay.
Yeah, that's the issue with her is like so far she's been established as like very subtly unsubtle.
All women are Lanfear.
Yeah, it's like I'm not Lanfear, but I'm here anyway.
Interesting.
Probably some men. And
all women and most men are Lanfear.
Even people that we know, like Else Grinwell, is Lanfear.
Yeah.
So like everyone. Except for this lady. I'm telling you, I don't get bad vibes from her. Okay. So I will eat my hat.
Sure.
If it is, someone bad. But I really don't get that from this.
Okay.
And I'm usually a pretty good judge of fake character.
Sometimes.
So do you think this woman's going to come back?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I think that this is like Perrin's like love interest, personally.
Why?
I don't know. It's just you're asked. Just my prediction. It's just my feeling I get. I think she's into him.
Okay.
I think that's why she followed him in the first place, and now she's like, "Oh shit, something crazy just happened, and I shouldn't have seen it," and she just runs away.
Well, it's just interesting because even people like these...
She might even be a traveler from somewhere else if her skirts are divided for riding.
It's just like the whole tertiary, like, characters, this type, like, they're so extended that you don't necessarily know if they're important. Like
She's important.
But like the woman in the barn who tried
bad.
to murder Matt and Rand, for example, like with the magical weird dagger, like we saw that once.
Well, that was just a dark friend.
That was just, but that's the point.
She had a role.
Yeah, it's the question of like, are we going to see...
This lady who saw this and ran away, of course we're going to see her again.
Okay.
I'm just telling you.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay, so then all of a sudden, Lan is there.
Of course.
So Lan is like, oh shit, Perrin, who saw this? And Perrin is like, some girl. And Lan is like, oh no.
This is the guy you call if you're going to bury a body, eevidently, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Get the carpet. I got this. You get the shovels.
Lan says, I saw a girl running, but I thought ... never mind.
So what did that mean?
I have no idea, but I noted it.
Okay.
I actually don't have any idea.
Okay.
And he obviously thought that she was running. Maybe something else happened.
Sure.
Because Lan is coming back from scouting, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking about it. Okay. So Lan is coming back from scouting.
Yeah.
And maybe something else crazy just happened.
With what Lan knows now.
With what Lan has seen and knows. And he saw this girl running and thought maybe she was running from whatever he's just seen. But the girl running is running from this.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, there could be things like, is this like a village girl who got spooked by the Aiel in the cage and he knows that's the direction? Or is it like Perrin?
No.
Maybe like, I don't know.
No, I just told you what it is.
Okay. I'm just like trying to throw. I mean, you had kind of like a very roundabout, like,
No, I just came to that right now because I didn't.
Lan knows some crazy stuff's
He
going
does
on.
all of a sudden. I just remembered where he was coming from.
Yeah, okay.
So anyway, he's like, whatever now. We gots to go.
Get your shit.
And he's like, get loyal. Head to the stables. Go to the docks. We hope there's a ship running. And if there isn't, we'll hire one. Don't ask questions. Just run.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
my line. Is
this
good,
is
right?
this is like parents standing
Everybody
with a bloody
panic.
Over
Classic
like
plan.
12
dead white cloaks.
cloaks.
The Aielman's free.
He's gone.
Like, this
Yeah.
is bad. We know that if there's white cloaks, there's probably more white cloaks.
Bad.
Moraine's an Aes Sedai. He's
Bad.
a warder.
Bad.
It's all a bad situation.
Gotta go.
We got to go.
Poor loyal.
Yeah. And he doesn't get to sleep on his bed.
Yeah, that's
The
what
first
I mean.
one.
Poor loyal. And that's
Yeah.
the end of this chapter.
Yeah.
And I actually closed the book on this chapter and said to you, that was a pretty good Perrin chapter.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I mean, if your metric for like a good chapter is different than a parent chapter,
My metric for a good chapter is if it's a page turner. If I'm very interested in what's going to happen and it's difficult for me to predict what's about to happen.
so would you be
That's
so
what I
bold
like.
as to say this was a good chapter?
Yeah, this was a good chapter.
Okay, I was gonna say don't push it, but hey, if we get it's a good parent chapter.
This was a good chapter. The one before it was a good Perrin chapter.
Gotcha.
Fair enough.
Because it was good information that I was waiting for. So that was good. I like when it's information-y that I'm curious about. When it's like information boring that I don't care about, then it's a boring Perrin chapter.
So just to kind of like end on this, but it's an interesting note that Lan, obviously they know they need to get gone. Lan saying we got to get to the boats.
Decision made.
The whole thing was like, do we go by land and follow Rand, or do we go by boat down to Ilion to Tyr? And it kind of seems like they're going to go for the boats.
Decision made.
Assuming that they can find one.
And if not, they're going to pay someone a lot of money.
All right.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
A lot of land gold.
So we're just going to meet up in Tyr then.
Or something's going to happen. Maybe they're going to go down to Ilion.
Yeah. It's
Something
funny
that
to hear
happened-
Lan complaining about gold when you know he can just like literally write like, Amarillan will pay you on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's got to make Perrin feel a little bit bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, you're going to cost us money.
Yeah.
Right. Unlimited bag of money.
All that money I have. Yeah. You're using it.
All right. Well, I think that's good. I'm looking forward to moving on. I don't really have a prediction for where we're going to go from here. So
yeah.
I do think that at some point we're meeting in Tyr, but I don't think that's going to happen for a while. Probably like the last like 5 chapters will be in Tyr, but
it'll be a very intense 5 chapters then. So
maybe
that seems to be the trend.
that's the trend.
Yeah.
Like a confluence kind of thing where everyone comes together all in one spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we actually haven't seen the girls leave
No.
the tower
not
yet, and we haven't seen Min get to the tower yet. So
Which
I'm
is a
interested
problem.
where she is.
Yeah. Are you going to give her the name of the next chapter, Brett?
No. Yeah, okay. It's called The Falcon.
The Falcon.
What?
We've had 2 predictions about a Falcon related to Perrin.
Yeah, and Min's viewings. So
That's what I mean. Min and Egwene.
Uh-huh. Interesting. Okay.
I wonder if it's apparently female.
Well, probably because that seems to be the trend.
But listen, the Falcon isn't the one putting the leash on Perrin's neck. It's the hawk, right?
That is true.
Because I actually picture that more of like a woman chaining Perrin down. Like locking Perrin down. You know, the whole like the whole ball and chain thing
I
where it's
get
like,
it,
I'm
I
going to
get
put
it.
a leash on your neck and now
Yeah.
you're my dog type thing.
I get it. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I don't know.
Interesting. Okay.
But the Falcon. Cool. Okay.
Okay. We'll see.
What do you think it's about?
I don't know. Obviously, I think that it's probably about Perrin. I think we're going to continue with Perrin because we've got the reference to the Falcon with Perrin. So we'll probably continue with him, and I'm not surprised. And thanks for joining us, Tyler.
Yeah, thanks. That was fun.
My pleasure. I'm glad this worked out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to say that this is part of the pattern now.
Yeah, it's part of the pattern.
Part of the pattern now.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. The Wheel Weaves is hosted by Dani and Brett, edited by Dani, produced by Dani and Brett with Vince Lewick, Scott Williams, Passion Socks, Mozyme, Michelle O'Brien, Derek Benton, Benjamin, and Derek Schluter, with music by Audionautics.com. If you'd like bonus content, like bonus episodes, outtakes, Q&As, more fun Wheel of Time talk, early access, cool stickers and keychains, and also to support us making great content, visit us at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram and Twitter at The Wheel Weaves Podcast. We love interacting with our listeners. Plus, don't forget to rate, subscribe, and tell a friend about us because referrals really are the best compliment. We'd really love for you to come over and join our Discord channel for some spoiler or spoiler-free discussions. You can find the links at our Twitter page as well as on our Patreon page. Thanks again for tuning in because this really is part of the pattern now.